Welcome back to the Football Royale
Artlist.io.
for part 2 of our journey through 25 of the most shocking moments in World Cup history. In the previous video, we covered some of the most unforgettable incidents that have shaped the beautiful game. Now, we dive into moments 11 to 25, including legendary upsets, heart-stopping drama, and events that have left football fans worldwide in awe. From shocking victories to heartbreaking losses, this part of our countdown promises to be just as intense and captivating. Let's pick up where we left off. Moment 11. North Korea beats Italy in the 1966 World Cup. Now, we resume our countdown as we delve into the 11th shocking moment in World Cup history.
Artlist.io.
This time, we travel back to the 1966 World Cup held in England, where North Korea pulled off one of the greatest upsets in tournament history by defeating Italy. On July 2nd, 1966, North Korea faced off against the Italian national team in a group stage match that was supposed to be a straightforward victory for the seasoned Italians. However, the North Korean squad, who were largely seen as underdogs, had other plans. With an unyielding spirit and determination, they took the field, ready to make their mark on football history. As the match unfolded, North Korea stunned the football world with their skill and organization. Despite being the lesser-known team, they took an early lead with a goal from Pak Duik, sending shockwaves through the stadium and beyond. The Italians, who had high hopes of advancing to the knockout stages, found themselves on the back foot, struggling to break down North Korea's disciplined defense. As the match progressed, North Korea continued to defy expectations. Italy managed to equalize, but North Korea quickly responded, re-establishing their lead and ultimately winning the match 1-0. This shocking victory sent Italy, one of the tournament favorites, crashing out of the competition and solidified North Korea's place in World Cup history.
Artlist.io.
The victory not only brought immense pride to North Korea, but also demonstrated the unpredictable nature of football, where anything can happen on the world stage. North Korea's triumph over Italy remains a legendary moment, showcasing the power of belief and teamwork in the face of overwhelming odds.
Reimagined.
Moment 12. Uruguay wins the 1950 World Cup. Now, we move on to one of the most iconic and unexpected moments in World Cup history, where Uruguay pulled off a victory that sent shockwaves through the football world. It was the 1950 World Cup, held in Brazil, and this was the first World Cup since the tournament had been suspended due to World War II. The tournament would go down in history, not just for its games, but for the dramatic final match that would seal Uruguay's victory in a fashion no one could have predicted. At the time, Brazil was the overwhelming favorite to win the tournament, especially after their dominant performances in the group stages. All they needed was a draw against Uruguay in the final match to secure the title. Brazil was playing at home, in front of their passionate fans at the Maracanã Stadium, and everything seemed set for a victory that would be remembered as their own.
Artlist.io.
But Uruguay had other plans. The match started off with Brazil taking an early lead, putting the Brazilian supporters into a frenzy. However, Uruguay, known for their resilience, fought back, and as the match wore on, the tension grew.
Music licensing.
Uruguay
reimagined.
equalized, then went ahead, sending the crowd into stunned silence. The final whistle blew with the score at 2-1 in favor of Uruguay, and the result was nothing short of shocking.
Artlist.io.
Uruguay's victory in the 1950 World Cup, especially in the Maracanã against Brazil in front of their own fans, was a moment of pure football drama. The result, which became known as the Maracanazo, left Brazil in disbelief, and Uruguay's football legacy was cemented. It was one of the most famous upsets in World Cup history, and the scene of the Brazilian fans' stunned silence is still one of the most memorable images in the history of the tournament. This victory was not just about the result. It was about how the underdog team from Uruguay defied expectations and triumphed on the world's biggest stage. The Maracanazo remains a symbol of football's unpredictable nature and the incredible ability of teams to overcome the odds. Moment 13. Zidane's headbutt in the 2006 World Cup final. Now, let's revisit a moment that remains etched in football lore. Zinedine Zidane's infamous headbutt in the 2006 World Cup final between France and Italy. The stage was set for what many believed would be Zidane's crowning achievement as one of the greatest footballers in history, with France facing Italy in a tense, highly anticipated final in Berlin. However, what followed stunned the football world and altered the course of the match. In the 110th minute of extra time, with the score tied at 1-1, Zidane, already playing in his final match, was involved in an altercation with Italy's Marco Materazzi. After an exchange of words, Zidane reacted by headbutting Materazzi in the chest, sending him crashing to the ground.
Music licensing reimagined.
The incident was shocking, not only for Zidane's actions, but also because of the timing, with both teams on the brink of penalties. The referee had no choice but to send Zidane off with a red card, ending his World Cup career in disgrace. Italy went on to win the match in a penalty shootout. And Zidane's career was left with a bittersweet memory, overshadowing an otherwise stellar legacy. This moment, though controversial, remains one of the most shocking in World Cup history. Moment 14. Maradona's Hand of God goal in 1986. Our next moment takes us to one of the most controversial and unforgettable goals in World Cup history.
Music licensing.
Diego Maradona's Hand of God goal during the 1986 World Cup quarterfinal between Argentina and England. This iconic incident unfolded in Mexico City and became the highlight of a match that remains deeply etched in the history of the sport. With the game scoreless, Maradona rose to challenge England's goalkeeper Peter Shilton for a high ball. In a split second, he used his left hand to punch the ball into the net, a move that was missed by the referee, who awarded the goal to Argentina. Maradona famously claimed the goal was made possible by a little bit of the head of Maradona and a little bit of the hand of God. Despite England's protests, the goal stood, and Maradona went on to score a second legendary goal just minutes later with an incredible solo run from his own half. Argentina won the match 2-1 and eventually went on to claim the World Cup trophy, with Maradona's Hand of God goal becoming one of the most debated and celebrated moments in football history. Moment 15. Andres Escobar's own goal in the 1994 World Cup. Our next moment takes us to the 1994 World Cup in the United States, where a tragic event unfolded after Colombia's Andres Escobar accidentally scored an own goal in a group stage match against the US. Colombia had come into the tournament with high hopes and a talented squad, but this mistake proved costly. Escobar's own goal led to Colombia's early exit from the World Cup, and tragically, just days after returning home, he was fatally attacked in an incident widely believed to be connected to that match. His death shocked the world and highlighted the intense pressures and dangers surrounding football in some regions. Escobar's legacy endures as a reminder of the profound impact sports can have on both players and fans.
Moment 16.
Italy's triumph in the 1982 World Cup amid controversy. Our next stop is Italy's remarkable and controversial journey to winning the 1982 World Cup in Spain. Italy's tournament run started slowly, struggling through the group stage without a single win. Criticized heavily by the press back home, the Italian squad was under intense scrutiny. But as the knockout rounds began, Italy transformed. With Paolo Rossi's unforgettable hat trick against Brazil in the quarterfinals, they captured the world's attention. Italy went on to defeat West Germany 3-1 in the final, lifting the trophy and silencing critics. Their victory became one of the most unexpected and inspiring comebacks in World Cup history. Moment 17. Ronaldo's redemption in the 2002 World Cup final. Moving on, we arrive at the 2002 World Cup final in Japan, where Brazil's Ronaldo made a legendary comeback. After a mysterious and heartbreaking incident before the 1998 final that left him unable to perform at his best, Ronaldo had a lot to prove. In the 2002 final, he faced Germany and delivered one of the most inspiring performances of his career, scoring twice to secure a 2-0 victory and Brazil's 5th World Cup title. Ronaldo's redemption story captured hearts worldwide and solidified his legacy as one of football's all-time greats. Moment 80. Ghana's heartbreak against Uruguay in the 2010 World Cup. Our next unforgettable moment takes us to the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, where Ghana, representing Africa in the quarterfinals, faced Uruguay. In the last seconds of extra time, with the score tied 1-1, Ghana had a golden chance to score. But Uruguay's Luis Suarez deliberately blocked the goal-bound header with his hands, earning a red card, but preventing the winning goal. Ghana's Asamoah Gyan missed the resulting penalty, and Uruguay eventually won in the penalty shootout, shattering Ghana's dreams and leaving fans heartbroken worldwide. Moment 19. USA defeats England in the 1950 World Cup. Our next shocking moment takes us to the 1950 World Cup in Brazil, where the United States faced England in what seemed a certain win for the English squad. England, with a powerful team, was widely expected to dominate. But the match took an unexpected turn when Joe Gaetjen scored the only goal, securing a 1-0 victory for the US. Known as the Miracle on Grass, this upset remains one of the most stunning results in World Cup history, proving that underdogs can triumph against all odds.
Moment 20.
Gary Speed's tragic passing. Our next moment is one of somber reflection in the football world. In 2011, the football community was shaken by the unexpected passing of Welsh football legend Gary Speed. Speed, a former player and then manager of Wales, was respected for his skill, leadership, and positive influence on and off the field. His death cast a shadow over the sport and opened conversations around mental health within the football community. This tragic loss left a lasting impact on fans, players, and the world of football alike. Moment 21. Togo national team bus attack at the 2010 African Cup of Nations. Our next moment is one of the darkest in African football history. In 2010, while en route to the African Cup of Nations in Angola, the Togo national team's bus was attacked by armed gunmen. The ambush tragically resulted in the death of 2 team staff members, and several others were injured. The attack forced Togo to withdraw from the tournament, leaving the football world in shock and raising serious concerns about safety in sports events. This heartbreaking event underscored the very real risks faced by players and teams. Moment 22. Andres Escobar's murder after the 1990 World Cup. In 1990, after Colombia's disappointing exit from the World Cup, Andres Escobar became the tragic focus of the world's attention. Escobar had accidentally scored an own goal during a match against the United States, which contributed to Colombia's elimination. Shortly after returning home, Escobar was tragically murdered, with many speculating that his death was linked to the own goal. His death highlighted the immense pressures placed on players, and it cast a dark shadow over the world of football, making it clear how intense the stakes can be, even off the field. Moment 23. Marc-Vivien Foé's death on the pitch. Marc-Vivien Foé's tragic death during a 2003 match between Cameroon and Colombia in the FIFA Confederations Cup left the football world in shock. Foé, a talented midfielder, collapsed on the field in the 72nd minute, and despite efforts to revive him, he passed away at the age of 28. The cause of death was later determined to be a heart attack. His sudden passing raised awareness about heart conditions in athletes and remains a somber reminder of the dangers players face. Moment 24. Thierry Henry's handball versus Ireland in 2009. One of the most controversial moments in recent football history occurred during the 2009 World Cup qualifying playoff between France and Ireland.
Music licensing
In the decisive match, Thierry Henry handled the ball in the build-up to a goal that allowed France to qualify for the World Cup. Despite the clear handball, the referee did not see the infraction, and the goal stood. The incident sparked outrage, particularly in Ireland, where many felt justice was denied. Henry later admitted to the handball, but the controversy surrounding the match remains a hot topic. Moment 25. The Battle of Santiago in 1962. Our final moment takes us back to the 1962 World Cup in Chile, where the infamous Battle of Santiago unfolded between Chile and Italy. This match was one of the most violent and controversial in World Cup history.
Music licensing reimagined.
From the very start, the game was filled with rough tackles, unsportsmanlike conduct, and brawls between players. At one point, an Italian player was sent off after a brutal altercation, and the game was so chaotic that it nearly descended into an all-out fight. Despite the violence, Chile won the match 2-0, but the lasting image of this game is one of the darkest chapters in football's history. As we conclude this look back at 25 of the most shocking moments in World Cup history, we're reminded of the passion, drama, and sometimes dark turns that make football such an emotional and unpredictable sport. These moments have left a permanent mark on the game, shaping its history in ways both inspiring and tragic. Football's power to bring people together, while also igniting controversy, is what makes it truly the beautiful game. Thank you for joining us on this journey through football's most unforgettable moments. Until next time, keep the game alive.